All right. Welcome back, everybody. It is Agree to Disagree, Coast to Coast. I'm Brandon Washington, and I am joined by my guest host today, Leemar Scott. Now, I'm going to give him a minute to introduce himself, but of course, it wouldn't be me if I didn't run my mouth incessantly about all the things that I want to do and tell you about other things, about this show, and all those other things. So, to get right down to it, of course, this is Agree to Disagree, Coast to Coast. This is a podcast where we will look at 3 of the week's most popular videos or interesting topics, and then we will allow you to digest a little bit of that topic, and then my guest host and I will try to kind of show the right side and kind of show the left side of things, and we're hoping that you will get involved here too. Whether you're on the left, whether you're on the right, we're hoping that you're gonna love this show, because what we're trying to do is show your point of view, whether that's the right wing, whether that's conservative, whether that's lefty, whether it's leftist, any of those ideas, any of those things that you have, share them with us. And what we will try to do is incorporate those into the show. We'll try to get the videos that you like. And if you don't think that we represent your side in a diligent manner, let us know. I will have my guest host or myself or one of the next guest hosts that we have try to redo that topic from your point of view. So what we're trying to do, folks, is take the comments that are usually the most entertaining and funny things about a podcast and make that into the major part of the show. So again, remember the concept. We're going to watch this video, and then Mr. Scott is going to be either on the left or the right, and I'm going to take the dissenting view. These may not be our own views on these topics, so don't hold us accountable for those. We want to represent them from a side of view that we may not be representing in our own lives, or a side of view that we do represent in our own lives. But no matter what, when we switch those topics, either one of us is going to defend those ideas from the left or the right as diligently as we can. So I've done enough talking and stuttering, so I'm going to introduce Mr. Leemar Scott. Sir, please tell this audience who you are, tell them a little bit about your background, and of course, grace us with your presence.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to apologize. My makeup artist didn't get here in time, so I look a bit of a mess. My wardrobe isn't here, but that's okay, because I can sit here and talk with you all day. As he said, I am Leemar, and I hail from the great place of Arches. What else do we have? Homelessness. We have segregation. I am from St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm here with you today.
Now, folks, that was a wonderful introduction there by Leemar. I will point out that since he was talking about St. Louis, I noticed that I forgot to take the Pittsburgh off of the sign down there at the bottom. Folks, this is why we are doing this live test video, because of course we're trying to get our format down to a good format that you're going to want to watch and that you can contribute to. So again, folks, when you see issues, you see problems, point them out, because I'm going to point them out. Hopefully by the time that we get done with all of these test videos that we're running, we'll be up and ready to bring you a quality product.
All right. You got to understand this, Hurt. Before we go on, you got to understand, everywhere in the world is St. Louis. Everywhere in the world is Pittsburgh.
I agree.
It's just your perspective on it.
Nice.
So we say Pittsburgh. Guess what? I'm from Pitt now, man.
There you go.
You know, son. I got my chucks and stuff. I'm ready. Let's go, son. Bring this heat, son.
We have him here. We have him here because he's dropping knowledge already. This man is a prophet. Did you hear that? All right, people. Let's check out this first video.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
So I brought up that makeup boy. And the makeup boy my daughter's in love with, she watches this makeup boy on YouTube, and now he's been canceled. I understand he lost $3 million, and she was telling me to have an 11-year-old sit down and tell you about a gay makeup artist. And this is the funny part. She goes, well, there was a couple things. Okay, so there was the thing with he has a friend and he tells me this woman's name who got him into the business. And then she asked him to promote her hair stuff, but he said no, and he went with another hair stuff. So he totally betrayed her. All right, it's like my 11-year-old's telling me this. And then this was the best part. She goes, there was also some talk that, he's gay. And there was boys that were not gay, and he tried to get them to be in a room with him.
Out there,
it's like listening to an 11-year-old tell me this shit.
Well, by the way, that also could have been that's the tone of the internet anyway as an 11-year-old girl. So you actually heard at least it came from an 11-year-old girl instead of like so-and-so's canceled. You could read you're a fucking 40-year-old adult. Why are you talking like a little girl? Yeah. You're on BuzzFeed, you're on Fox. Like it's getting to the point where the New York Times is going to be doing that. Like
they're close to it now. I mean, I think that
Alabama owns abortion people.
Yeah. What it is the media right now, especially journalism, they're fucking starving for hits. It's so hard to make money. It's
all right, people. Now, of course, I'm going to give the prerequisite conversation from both sides, the left side and, of course, the right side. And then Mr. Scott and I are going to flip a coin to decide who is going to be on the left and who is going to be on the right. Now, in this video here, you may not have got the full gist of the video, everybody who is watching or anybody who is watching later on, but the video is really supposed to be about deplatforming. Now, of course, the idea of deplatforming is it's kind of a new concept, and that concept, of course, is since we have the rise of social media, people who are in the limelight on social media, if they are not allowed to utilize that platform anymore, it kind of is a career killer for them, especially if these are people who started in social media and continue to be on social media. So the big issue that's around deplatforming, of course, isn't actually the deplatforming itself. It's mostly around controversies around bad things people have said on TV, things that other people find controversial, and of course that brings up the topic of free speech. Now, on the left, the idea of free speech is usually one of those things where people are pushing to make sure that people have a strong ability to say what they want to say and do what they want to do, but with constraints. So, of course, the left argument is there should be some constraints online. And, of course, the right side of the argument is that anything that constrains those things is an attack on free speech. And, of course, don't step on my rights. Now, Mr. Scott, which side do you think you'd like?
I think you should flip the coin.
I'm going to, but I want to know what side you want to be on before I flip this coin, just to see which side you think you'd want to be on.
Well, I definitely want to be on the right side of any conversation. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm right or left. It just means I want to be on the right side. Now, when we're thinking about this free speech and stuff, and I want to save my arguments for when I pit my side, but who defines free speech now?
Save it for the argument. All right. Hold on. I'm going to flip this coin. Heads or tails?
Call it tails.
You win. What side would you like to be on, my friend?
Well, I'll definitely be here on the right side.
Okay. That means I'm going to take the left. Would you like to begin, or would you like me to begin?
Well, I love your beautiful voice, so I definitely think you should go first.
Hey, compliments will get you everywhere, my friend. All right, folks. So usually, and again, I am taking the left side of this argument. Now, there is always a great need for us to make sure that we are protecting our constitutional rights. However, we have a very brand new medium, and that medium is social media. Now, you may not have noticed, but social media permeates almost every aspect of our lives. We are glued to our phones, glued to our watches, glued to our computers. So social media matters. And when you have people who are being bullied or are being pushed to do things that they don't want to do, or allowing that social media to literally control every aspect of their life, there has to be some kind of regulation. And sometimes that means regulating what can be said and done online. Now, of course, I'm going to bring up the New Church Massacre that happened where it was live streamed recently. Within the last 2 weeks, there was I believe, a young girl from a foreign country who put a poll out on Facebook or if she should kill herself or not. And the people who were her supposed friends decided that she should, and she did. So I think that there has to be something that provides some kind of 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 of, of protection to the people out there. And of course, I know people are going to say it's an identity group, or we're just trying to make this about identity politics and take away people's right to say what they have to say. But there has to be some protection for somebody. What do you say, Mr. Scott? What do you say on the right side of that argument?
Give me a quick second there, sir.
He's taking a drink. That means he's gonna bless us with some knowledge.
So, it's wonderful how you people on the left, talk about protection, especially with speech. And we want to protect, our precious ears from the things that we hear. But let me punch you in the face with some reality here real quick. B, can I call you B?
You can.
Yeah, thank you. I know that's a term that you guys like to use. So check this out. Let's say, for instance, we do start masking speech, because that's basically what we're doing. We want to mask what people can say. Now, in this country, the last time we masked something, it was the Ku Klux Klan, which I know you on the left do not want to see come back into full power. Like right now, I have the freedom to say what I want to say.
Right.
And now, when I say those things, there's consequences. I'm going to accept the consequences. I'm going to accept the consequences that comes with that. Now, when we start censoring or telling people you can't say these things on live TV, you can't say these things on social media, we suppress things, correct? Have you ever cooked in the kitchen?
I have.
All right. So, let's say, for instance, you're cooking something, right? And you put a lid on top of it. And it's boiling water. We're going to call it boiling water. So when you suppress or put a top on what people say, it only becomes a second before it boils over.
Okay. So what do you say about hate speech then? Why do we have laws that say you can't say fire in a crowded place? The reason why we have those laws, and again, this is one of those right-wing attacks on left ideas to protect people, but when we have these laws that protect people, like you can't say fire in a theater, it's because we see a need for protection. All speech, and again, there is consequences to the speech that you utter, and I do appreciate you pointing that out, but all speech cannot be speech that's protected, and all speech cannot be free, okay? I get it that we want to make sure that people can say what they want to say, and we want to make sure that people's rights aren't being infringed upon, okay? But at the same time, we have to make sure that people are being protected. And if that means that our kids who are younger and younger and younger getting on social media, whether we want them to be on social media or not, they're finding ways to get there. We're in an interconnected world. People don't have a choice whether they want to utilize social media. Are we going to say that it's just going to be a free-for-all for everybody who goes online, and that our kids don't need protection? No, we can't.
So this is the thing though. But when we're talking about hate speech, we're talking about a perception, all right? So prime example, Christians can't take Bibles and have Bible studies in school. Why? Okay, there's nothing hateful about the Bible, but we can't take that there. Yet we can teach our children about what being transgender is. Now, for some people, teaching my children about being a transgender is hate. You're teaching my child to hate who they were designed to be.
Well,
And
wait.
say,
Let me give you a little bit of pushback on that. Well, what would you say to people who say, "Wait a minute"? When they're talking about teaching kids about being transgender in school and these different people's uh, expectations of sexuality, what they're really doing is continuing sex education. When we talk about not being able to bring a religious document or text to school, you can have your religious document or text as long as that is personal. The delineation there is making sure that you're not and then infringing on somebody else's right who does not believe in that same God that you may have. And
yeah,
again, that goes back to making sure that we're protecting those constitutional rights.
yes, yes. So we're talking about protecting the constitutional rights, as you just said,
Yeah.
which the freedom of speech is there. Now, it doesn't say the freedom of speech depending on if it, hurts Brandon's feelings.
Mm.
It doesn't say the freedom of speech as long as it doesn't make someone cry. The freedom of speech is the freedom of speech, just the same way as the right to bear arms.
Well,
These things are in the Constitution.
they are.
As you just said, we're talking about the Constitution. The reason that we don't allow Bible teaching in school is because we want the country separated from religion. One of the things that the founding fathers thought was important, which I agree with. And the same thing with free speech. Now, you want to filter what I say or what I do on a platform that I have freely given to me. So you're trying to marginalize me.
So, do you think that your personal right to be able to say what you want on a platform should also, uh, do you think it's on par with a parent's right to make sure that their child is protected online, or on the same level as someone who may not be uh, quite ready to handle the stings and arrows of the trolls that inhibit the comment section of anything that they may put up on Instagram or YouTube. There's a lot of folks out here who may not be ready for the just the plain meanness they may feel and the isolation that they may feel online. Because remember, this isn't just about people saying a bad thing to you or saying something mean to you or even rising to the absolute level of hate speech. We're talking about regular everyday interactions where people are experiencing something called social isolation and social loneliness. Because again, social media and these electronic and digital things that we have in our world are interconnected with almost everything that we do now. Our cell phones, you can't do certain things if you don't have a cell phone. You can't function without having a computer. That's why they're even thinking of making access to the internet a actual right for citizens. So we can't divorce ourselves from how
Well, see,
important
wait,
social media is.
I
And wait,
gotta
wait, wait,
I
we
gotta
can't
stop
divorce
you there.
ourselves from how important social media is and how important it is for if we're doing or interacting with that social media to be protected.
Well, one, so we're not interconnected with the internet. We are not interconnected with the conveniences, and this is what I call them, the conveniences that today, provide us, and that's part of the problem. We are so plugged, and I call it plugged into social media. All
Hmm.
right, I'm gonna tell you, I have kids.
Yeah.
My kids are not on social media. Why? Because since they are under my control, I monitor what they have access to. So I'm not worried about someone's speech, what they may say. The same reason I'm not worried about my children watching porn. I'll tell you
Okay.
why. Because it's blocked. You know what my children get to watch?
Tell me.
They get to watch Disney movies. because everything has a underlining tone to it. So you do have to watch what you give people. Now, when we're starting to do this, so are we going to take the free speech out of movies, out of Hollywood, or are we going to take that free speech out of the video games that our kids watch? Or are we going to take that free speech out of the music that we listen to? So we're talking about hate speech, but I want to talk about something that affects us even more, and it's the music that become the soundtracks of our lives. We're worried about hate speech here. Some guy on the internet that not even 3% of our population has even heard of. And that's most of the time with most of these hate speeches. They have small followings. But when you look at the masses and what they listen to, when you look at our society and how it's changed, and it's not the hate speech that's done that, because we conquered that with and I won't say conquered it entirely, but when you look today, things that are accepted and not accepted. Vice, when we were in the 30s, in the 40s, in the 50s, things that accepted. Social media didn't do that. That was us. We didn't. We said enough is enough. We didn't. There was no need for the government to step in and say, "Hey, we're going to stop these things." No, it was the common man, and that leaning on the government that we do is part of the problem that we have. The government doesn't run this nation, it's the people. And as soon as the people realize we run this nation, social media platforms lose their power because we control the power.
Okay. Now, folks, obviously, we have given you a good round argument on both the left side and the right side. I want to thank Mr. Scott for that first foray into that first topic. We branched off a little bit, but folks, I think we touched a lot of the things that is commonly in that argument about censorship. So, let me give hats off to Leemar on that first video. Thank you. Very important things and very relevant. One of the things I really liked about what you said there was the information about how music influences us much more than one single post online. I mean, folks, are you hearing the vision in what he just said there? The prophetic nature of what he just said? Think about that. We have artists that have branding, marketing, an online following. They sell out arenas, and the message that they're putting out there. My gosh, people! If you listen to some of this stuff, that's far more than one post about hate speech or one racial epithet that's out there. If you think Alex Jones is far right and saying some
I'm
things
sorry,
that
Alex
people
who?
shouldn't hear, Alex Jones. Because
Is he French?
Oh no, Alex Jones got
I'm joking. I'm joking.
See what I got to deal with, people? Do you see what I got to deal with? If you think Alex Jones is far right, listen to some of the things that you hear in some of the most popular songs. And you don't have to go to the dark web to hear these things, people. Go to your local stations, just push on through and listen to some of the things that you hear. And that has been being pushed out to a beat. So now you're dancing to the hate, right? Now you're dancing to it. And you might even be saying, so you'll catch yourself saying some of these wild, outlandish things that you hear in those songs that like you said, soundtrack to a life. Craziness. Now, Leemar, before we move on to the next video, anything else to say on this topic?
Just with free speech, like I actually seesaw on this because it's like some of these things that we allow to come out. Some of the images that we display in the local news. You're like, well, maybe we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But then I always go back to what I was raised with, and it's sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
But those words they may not hurt you. They may not leave any physical proof.
Hate speech Hate speech is only given power when you allow it to.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's true. That's
Right?
true.
I
It's just
mean,
hard not to let it give it power because, words can sting. They might not break our bones and they may not stop us, but, sometimes that can take all the air out of your day, just all the wind out of your sails and just, ooh.
yeah, but then so when it's there, then you got to evaluate why. Why did you let a noise, and that's all words are. Words are noise. How did a noise affect you? How could you let a noise affect you? And so it's like when you sit outside, you hear the leaves come past, right? It's a noise, and the leaves ruffle, and it's really no effect to you. You hear a horn blow. Sometimes it make you jump, but that's about it. You hear a loud gunshot, pow, you jump like that, and then you're back to who you are. Now these words, these noises that humans make, because we make them. My thing is like, I don't like people that do hate speech, but I won't give them the power of my time. So if I hear somebody with some hate speech, you know what I do? I turn them off. Because when we look at it, right, and so now, like Alex Jones, somebody that's listening to us today didn't know who he was, and now they do. So
right,
now
they're looking him up right now.
Now they're Googling him, right?
Absolutely.
So now you have gave him 27 more hits on his page.
Very true, my friend. Very true.
And with the algorithms that these, they use, because I don't care what anybody say, controversy still sells. So I'm gonna let
it does
hate speech slip
just
out.
Said something like that the other day. Of course, if it bleeds, it leads. That's the phrase in the industry, right?
Yeah. And there you go. So it's like when we stop giving a power to these things, and it's something I don't know if you know this, but I'm a Sunday school teacher at my church, right?
Hey,
and
folks, let's pause for that one. Let's give Mr. Scott a hand for that.
No. But I don't say it to get a hand though, because I say it to say this.
I don't care if you say it for a hand. You're getting a hand for that one.
So sitting in class and we talk about what you feed your body. Whatever you feed the most is going to grow the most. We feed hate in America. We feed it because every time we see it, we want to talk about it. The same thing with these school shootings. We talk about it so much, and then that kid that seen that kid do it, like, oh man, I can get famous like that, and then they do it. And that's really a lot of these hate speech guys. They're doing it. They're doing it for a buck.
Yeah,
there may be a little hate there, but they're doing it for a buck.
Yeah,
because we want the American dream. That's why I go to the gym. And I work these things.
Look at him, man. Look at that.
I want them big.
150% American beef. Well, you're right. We are all chasing the American dream in some form, shape, or fashion. And, hopefully when you get that American dream, it's everything you thought it was going to be. Because if it's not, you've wasted a lot of time and energy trying to chase it,
We'll have that as another topic.
Absolutely.
The American
let's
dream.
move on to another video. Let's see what we have next.
What happens when a government gives their citizens free money? And if it's coming from the government, is it really free? Hey guys, I'm Alex. This is Now This World. And on this episode, we're talking about universal basic income, what it is, and why it's becoming a popular subject of debate. Following recent news that Finland opted out of continuing its UBI pilot program beyond 2018,
very familiar with those.
Economists are questioning the sustainability of the controversial model. We're taking a look at local and national governments around the world that have given it a shot, and diving into the question, could a universal basic income work for the U.S.? First, let's break it down. Though it comes in different shapes and sizes, universal basic income is an economic concept in which everyone gets an equal amount of money from the government every month, no strings attached. So whether you're unemployed or working, low income or in the 1%, the same check will always come, and nobody will tell you how to spend it. Supporters say the idea is that providing folks with a safety net won't encourage them to stop working, but actually give them the freedom to pursue work they're really interested in and restore economic security. Some liberal proponents argue that increasing taxes on corporations and the wealthy to help support a universal income could be a positive way to help out low-income communities. While some conservative supporters
also remember
like the idea that a
there
successful
is a
UBI
popular
could replace
candidate
what they
of the
deem as costly and
22,
ineffective
23
social
people who are
services,
running right
like
now.
food stamps,
His name is
job
Andrew
training,
Yang, and
Medicaid, and
he
more.
is proposing
The
a
idea has
universal
gained
basic
steam in
income,
recent
but
years,
he is
with
calling it
48% of
the
Americans
freedom
supporting a
dividend.
universal basic income program as of 2017, a number which, according to economist Carl Widerquist, has skyrocketed up from 12% just 10 years ago. But it's not a new concept. As far back as 1516, philosopher Thomas More proposed a similar idea in his book Utopia. In a 1792 pamphlet, founding father Thomas Paine proposed a basic income for, quote, every person, rich or poor. And 20th century leaders from Milton Friedman to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
All right. So this video just gave us some basic highlights and overviews of universal basic income. Gave a little bit of the goods, gave a little bit of the bads, and of course, there are two different sides to this argument. Now, of course, there is the left side of this argument that says, hey, perhaps universal basic income could be another valuable social safety net program that could help to deliver many, many thousands of people who could use the benefits of that type of thing from the staggering cost of living in today's society. And then, of course, there are people on the right to say, hey, how can you add another social safety net program? This is just the left side trying to programize every aspect of our lives. You can't have a program for everything. This is just a bunch more of liberals trying to protect their protected groups because, of course, this is identity politics. So you have two different sides on these things. And, of course, I have to mention, if you want a prime example of somebody who's talking about universal income, basic income right now, again, like I mentioned a moment ago, Andrew Yang is pushing universal basic income and is kind of one of the reasons why it's on the forefront of people's lips right now. He's not, of course, the first person to push this forward or the first person to champion this cause, but he's getting a lot of attention for it. And we want to agree to disagree to find out what you think about it too. So, Mr. Scott and I are about to debate this topic from the left or from the right. Now, the last time Mr. Scott was on the right and I was on the left, so I am going to be on the right this time, and I'm going to say a big no to universal income. And of course, Mr. Scott will be on the left this time. No need to toss the coin. Mr. Scott, I started the last time. Would you like to start this time, or would you like to defer to me to start?
I'll definitely start this time because I definitely think this is a very important thing and a way to really tip the scales of America. You got to look at income gaps and how they've been expanding over the years. Our income is, from the highest to the lowest are constantly doing this. And so when I think about UBI and the possibilities that this gives us, one, it is a way to start tipping that board back the other way. When you look at an average guy like me, I'm employed, I get a little money, but what could I do with some extra money? What type of financial power would that give me? So when you look at the way money goes in America, money is built over generations, and there's no way to stop that. There's no way to reverse that. There's no program out there that's going to be designed to take someone from poor to rich. And we talk about America being a place of opportunities, but those opportunities are still far and in between, where when you look at it, if you start in a poor family, the likelihood of you making it out of that situation with the way America is set up now, very slim to none. So what this UBI represents is a chance to kind of I don't want to say take the heads off the royals of our nation, because that's what they are, but to remove some of the power that the elites have in this country and spread that out a little bit further.
Well, look, I hear you making these arguments, and it sounds like yet another liberal telling me that you want to create yet another welfare program. Look, we have had welfare in this country tearing apart the African American community, the Hispanic community, the Asian community, and even the Caucasian communities out there. Welfare and the food stamp system, it seems like it's a public good, but it is not. It is just something that disincentivizes people from wanting to get out there and actually work for a living. Now, I like that they say that this thing is going to help with the oncoming onslaught of automation, but look, people, how are we going to pay for these things? I love that the Democrats and the liberals and all of the folks on the left side of things are always talking about what's going to be good for us, and we're going to put this program in here, and we're going to protect this identity group. But that's all it is. It's protectionism at the cost of everyone else in this country. How many more taxes can you give us? Donald Trump just cut our taxes, and you want to make us put all those taxes back in here to fund some cockamamie scheme called universal basic income. Look, that's universal basic bad idea. That's really what that is.
All right, I just want to stop you real quick. All right, there's no need to use vulgar language. Here on the cast, using the T word. Let's calm down a little bit. All right, so let's
not have you disperse the name of my commander in chief.
Let's talk about welfare, okay, first, and let's talk about the percentage of welfare that that takes from the national budget. Very small.
Okay.
Very small.
Okay.
Okay. Let's talk about where we spend all our money. And you know where the bulk of that money goes, right?
Defense of this great nation.
All right. But you got to understand that defense is not going to the people that defend it. It's going to the corporations.
This is what the liberals always say.
It's going to those corporations.
Just got a brand new fighting system. How do you think we got those new jets that are flying in the sky? How do you think we got a stealth jet? That is 5 generations ahead of what any other country has. Yeah. What do you liberals think we are spending this money on? We're not just spending it on chow halls. Ask any military person you know if they're spending that money on the food that we have. No. They're spending it on fighting capacity. That's what they're doing. They're making sure that we are protected, making sure that my wife's protected, my daughter's protected, and my son's protected.
Hey, you know what I want you to do? I want you to go look at the last contract that the U.S. government fed out to Boeing for a failed fighter jet that never got off the ground. And you look at how much the American people footed for that bill. So we're not paying. What we're doing is we're paying for crap, because Bill's cousin that runs Boeing is in good with the elite. So yeah, we'll give them the contract. And just like they have over the course of the past 40 years, only about 42% of the projects that we've given them have actually been successful.
Okay, all right. Wait a minute. Now, you say, okay, of course, you're going to say, okay, we didn't get this jet off the ground. All right, look, maybe there was some difficulty in the initial contract of getting that jet off the ground. But you seem to have forgotten something that's really important. Just the fact of them trying to make that vehicle employed hundreds, if not thousands, of Boeing employees. Those Boeing employees happen to be Americans, and Americans need jobs. That's what we need. That is what runs our country. So if you're telling me we're going to take money out of the hands of hard-working Americans working towards our national defense by supporting those war fighters like you and me, then and you're going to put that in the hands of people who aren't working, because it sounds like you just want to increase the amount of money that we're giving to people on welfare. That's what it sounds like.
No.
If that's what it is, that's what UBI is. Nah.
No. What UBI is going to do is expand the American experience. Right now, ideas come from small corners. Small corners. Now, when you divvy up money and you give everybody a chance to spawn an idea, you think about the innovation that will come from that. Okay. Now, I want you to think hard on that one, because I got 1 minute and I do have to go to another broadcast here. But you think about that one. You want to keep the 2 or 3 people at Boeing that are making the, $100 million salaries. Yeah. And then they're paying, $20,000, $40,000 to their developers. $40,000 to a developer. Come on. You're not spreading that wealth. You're paying someone so they can barely survive. I have to go. My call.
Thank you for being here. Folks, remember, these are not really our views. We are exploring from both sides. Folks, please go to Mr. Scott's Facebook page. He will be back to be another guest host. Leemar, I love you. I truly appreciate my Marine Corps brother. Brother, thank you for being with us. Everybody out there, let's get the applause for him.
Hey, Semper Fi, brother. Semper Fi.
Thank you for giving us a really, really good breakdown of UBI. Really, really good. I wanted to give you my real views of UBI afterwards.
I gotta roll.
I know you gotta go. Thank you, brother. We love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for being with us. Folks, I truly appreciate you being here with us for another quick episode of Agree to Disagree Coast to Coast. Remember, this is the live test that we are doing. You just joined me with my special guest host for tonight, and that was Leemar Scott, a wonderful, wonderful Marine Corps veteran, a very opinionated man, wonderful speaker, had some really great ideas, both on the right side of things and on the left side of things. I think he defended both sides well. You heard him talk about things from the right. You heard him talk about things from the left. And now, folks, it is your turn. What do you think of the topics that we just discussed? Are there some popular videos that you want us to discuss further? What format can we bring to you that you are going to like and love and enjoy and keep watching? Let me know in the comments. Tell me more about what you think. Tell me if you think I'm talking too much. Tell me if you want me to talk some more, because I'll talk some more. Let me know if the only reason you're watching this video is because of this handsome young man over here. Folks, I truly appreciate you being with me. Keep your eyes open for the next show, and we're going to keep doing these test shows until we have a great format for you. Thank you for being with me. And as I say, after even the show on the drive that you watch with me on Facebook Live, I will say it here too. Somebody out there loves you. And if you can't find that somebody, I love you. Thank you again for being with me, folks. Bye. Say bye, Link.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.